Okay, so it seems to be going a little bit south for Southampton at this moment in time. I mean, because Southampton are in trouble. And yeah, that was my best Frank Lampard impression. Keeping up with the times once again because he is in danger of losing his job at Everton. Anyway, let's get into this video. Southampton are in deep, deep trouble, as the title suggests. They're bottom of the Premier League at this moment in time with 12 points to their name. They're 3 points from safety and have lost their last 6 games. And have only won 1 game since August. And yeah, the last game, other than the last one they won, was against Chelsea. And as you can tell, I'm a Chelsea fan. So it just doesn't count. It's completely void because we are shit. But yeah, I just decided to do a video talking about Southampton because they've just lost 1-0 at home to Nottingham Forest, a absolutely horrendous result for them. And yeah, of course, as I said, it leaves them bottom of the table, especially losing at home to a relegation rival. It moves Nottingham Forest up to 15th in the Premier League. They're outside the bottom 3 for the first time I can remember this season, to be honest. And yeah, they're in crisis mode at this moment in time, Southampton. And I can't really pinpoint the problem. I think there's a few different reasons as to why Southampton are struggling this season. Because Southampton, of course, they have been perennial strugglers in the Premier League, especially over the last few years, and everyone seems to forget that. They have been in the Premier League now for quite some time. They got promoted in 2012 from the Championship, and yeah, obviously they've been in the Premier League now for a little bit over than a decade, so maybe it's their time in the Premier League circle of life, who knows. But yeah, I personally think that a massive factor in Southampton's poor struggles this season has been the lack of experience in their squad. I mean, they've got a very good squad on paper, Southampton. If you actually look at it, if you go through their starting 11 especially, you'd think that they should be nowhere near the bottom of the table, let alone rock bottom with losing the last 6 games. They've got a very good squad on paper. You look at James Ward-Prowse, for example, who's a very good player at this level. Walker-Peters, who's a good player at this level. And then you look at some of the young players that they have as well. I mean, they've got so many good young players that they've signed, pretty recently, most of them in the summer transfer window. You've got Gavin Bazunu in goal, who, yes, of course, hasn't been the best number 1 in the Premier League by any stretch of imagination so far this season, but take it from an Irish citizen. I've watched him so many times in an Irish shirt, and yeah, this guy is a very good goalkeeper, and trust me, eventually he will pay dividends for you. Romeo Lavia, who I really like in midfield, I think he's an absolutely brilliant holding midfield player. Obviously, you don't get linked with Chelsea for no reason, even though I constantly go on about Chelsea's transfer strategy being a bit shit. Then you look at the centre-backs, Armel Bella-Kotchap, who looks like an absolutely brilliant signing ever since he signed for Southampton. I've definitely seen promising signs in him. Obviously, then next to him, Salisu as well. That's why I'm so surprised that Southampton are conceding so many goals, because I think they have a very, very promising backline. Livermento, of course, who's out injured. Then you have Salisu, as I said, who's very good, and Bella-Kotchap, who's very good. They both look very promising at centre-back. Sekou Mara up front, of course, who's a new signing, who's got quite a few games, hasn't really hit the ground running as of yet, but I think he's like 19 or 20 years of age, so he's one to be patient with. And Samuel Edozie, who's come from Manchester City, who, in my opinion, looks like Southampton's probably player of the season, maybe behind James Ward-Prowse so far this season. I think he looks like a little bit of a Leroy Sané regen, to be honest. He looks like he's very quick, very direct, has that burst of pace, and looks very, very tricky as well. So I think Edozie will be one that works out in the future for Southampton for sure. But yeah, with all those, quality young players that I have named out, comes a lack of experience. I mean, James Ward-Prowse seems to be the only real leader in this Southampton squad, and yeah, that's obviously going to be costing them a lot, because if there's one thing Southampton do not need in a relegation dogfight, is a lot of inexperience and a lot of young players. And it reminds me a lot of Aston Villa when they got relegated, like, half a decade ago. They had a lot of good young players. They had Adama Traore at the time, Jordan Amavi, who was a new talent, Jordan Veretout, who was a bit of a new talent, Idrissa Gana Gueye, who was again a young player at the time as well. And yeah, even though the Southampton team possesses a lot of talent on paper, it's not an ideal situation for them to have this team in a relegation dogfight, because these players are not yet equipped and experienced enough to be dealing with the pressure situation that Southampton find themselves in at this moment in time. And even still as well, in my opinion, there's a few other deficiencies in this Southampton team. If you look at the fact that there's a complete lack of goals, I mean, Che Adams seems like a decent striker if you play him alongside an out-and-out goal scorer. That's why he was decent enough next to Danny Ings, who was banging in the goals, and Che Adams was like almost like his link man. Adam Armstrong hasn't worked out, even though he signed for big money. So yeah, Southampton, ever since Danny Ings has left, they've really failed to replace him, and yeah, it's pretty obvious with the lack of goals that they're suffering from at the moment. And even last season, I don't know how they survived last season without Danny Ings in the team, and even without those young players that are of quality as well. I don't know how Southampton survived last season. I think it was a bit of magic from Hasenhüttl, a few James Ward-Prowse free kicks every now and then doesn't hurt either. But yeah, I think Hasenhüttl did a remarkable job last season, and yeah, I mean, Nathan Jones now has a massive uphill battle to keep Southampton up this season. I think he's a very good young manager, Nathan Jones, but is inexperienced at this level. And yeah, it's a bit of a weird one for Southampton fans, because normally when teams are in this run of form at the bottom of the table, the first option is to pin it on the manager, and a lot of rumours to be sacking the manager. But obviously Nathan Jones is only just in the door just before before the World Cup. He's only, you know, managed 3 or 4 games for Southampton, so it's, you know, it's a bit of a weird one for Southampton because you can't pinpoint the manager whatsoever. There's not really a key fault or a key person that you can actually pinpoint for this, you know, struggle for Southampton at this moment in time, and that's why it's a bit of a weird one for the fan base at the moment, I imagine. And yeah, the only thing I'd say for Southampton that makes it even more worrying, sorry to just be, you know, scaremongering really for Southampton fans right now, but I think one thing that really would worry me as a Southampton fan is if they go down, if they'll be able to get back up, because this Southampton team don't strike me as that team that would instantly come back up, and it could be a case of them staying in the Championship for a few years, especially if they lose all those young players before they blossom, because the likes of Lavia and even Bazunu and Edozie, you know, they're not going to want to stick around in the Championship for too long, especially if they blossom in the Championship and get snapped up by Premier League clubs before they're actually able to help Southampton get back up. So it could be a bit of a worrying scenario for Southampton fans. But yeah, of course, that's all if, whats and maybes, but what we do know is that they're bottom of the table at this moment in time after losing at home to Forest, a relegation candidate, as I said. And yeah, Southampton fans, let me know if you're worried down in the comment section below. Are the defibrillators out for you guys at this moment in time? And yeah, let me know if I've hit the nail on the head with most things I've said in this video, or am I talking absolute shit? Let me know in the comment section below, Southampton fans. And yeah, that'll be the end of this video. So leave a like if you did enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you are new, that would be massively, massively appreciated. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video, and yeah, see ya.